Part 2. The memory got full. Not only my memory, the memory on the camera. The highlight to the point was I was on a roll. The highlight to the point is when a government really cares about something, they have a driven goal. They can inspire others. When a church, synagogue, or some religious organizations have a driven goal, they can inspire others. When a big nonprofit has a driven goal, they can inspire others. When big corporations have a driven goal, they can inspire others. When companies have a big driven goal, they can inspire others. When the universal marketing plan has a corporate goal or individual goal or some kind of goal for success, they can inspire others. If we could get everybody on the same page to at least help an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 10%, 20%, everybody for one goal for some kind of universal, we'll say, healthcare, food plan, shelter plan. If you could get the entire planet on that goal, well, I don't want to say help the neighbor because it's not like that. I mean, sometimes some countries really still do that. Some of the tribes, some of the places, some of the communities. It's the concept of the world of help the people. Let's get the rich and those that got the money in the positions to help. Let's help from the top to the bottom, and at the bottom, every last one that we can help individually to get the funds to help. If we can't help 100%, let's help 70%, 80%, 90, 95, 98%. If we could get to the point of doing that somehow, some way, broad spectrum, just have some kind of universal plan. I know there's a lot going on in the world, but if collectively we could get everybody on board, all the big governments, corporations, religious groups, companies, the movement groups, everybody. I realize I don't want to make this a political statement, but across the board, if we could just all get on board to help people from starving, to get them proper medical care, to get them clean drinking water, to get them healthy food the best that we can. Let's hit those aspects too. And then let's go from there and along while doing everything else we're doing in life, because we can multitask, to try and make life fair, to give other people chances, to help support the universal movement of life, to help people have water, clean drinking water, healthy foods, or some kind of at least decent edible food like we get in America. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that there's tons of people out there starving that would love to be a little bit fat from our American food diets. So let's get them, at least get them from food that's affordable. They say that we make and manufacture so much food. Let's work in cooperation with governments and everybody in between that's been mentioned and not mentioned that we know about and don't know about that can help supply the food to all parts of the world where they need it, to get clean drinking water, to get wells dug, to get the filtration that they need, to get the concept of some roads and bridges where they need. And it's the point that there's just so much to do, and is that if we could have one world focus, not necessarily a world government. I'm just talking a world focus of cooperation where we could have a plan to help 98% to 100%, but start where everybody has been active for years. There's tons, don't get me wrong. There's tons of people out there doing this now where they've done food drives, they dig wells. I've seen it on TV and the public service stations, off the grid videos. It doesn't make the big news regularly. But let's get a public news channel that would cover this stuff every day. Humanitarian issues across the board to help people, to help them get the food and medical care that they need, and to have some kind of storm shelters, places that they can be safe, places that they can have. If they're not going to let them have faith in religion, let them have faith in their government. My goodness. To help them understand that they will have some food to build strength, that they can do some places would love to do a work program where they're working for their food. Maybe not where they have to, where they can choose to, but they can get some food, get some healthy labor in, do stuff for their family, make an income, and have some kind of livable wage along with food, medical care, safety and security of a safe shelter. Um, some places it could be a community shelter. Some places it's individual homes and dwellings and stuff like that. I mean, we all know there's various aspects. I've seen on TV where some people are trying to build a boat tent shelter, and the places are trying to block them. And I'm guessing it's because those people that got money don't want to see that. I've seen other places where they live on this water where they technically have like the riverboat things. Other places they're just trying to have their tent cities boxes and design some places that they can go where they're not going to freeze to death, that they're not going to like die from the extremities of the heat. Give them some community buildings at least they can go to where they can have some place to get showers and clean drinking water and healthy meals. It does not take a lot of food. I mean, we have a fat over big American diet, yes, but the average person that has had no food really only needs a few bites of food to get them started. They might even need doctors to tell them how much to eat so they don't frickin' hurt themselves, because it's not just good just to go. I've just heard stories of it's not good to go from no eating back to eating. You got to work your way into it, and you want something healthy. And as far as that, I don't even know all the particulars. The point is if we all ate normal, healthy diets, especially between the people that just veg out or couch potato out that aren't doing too much work, you don't need a lot of food. We want a lot of food. Our bodies crave it. There's tons of things in the food that makes us crave more because we're used to it. But if we were in a place where they have not a lot of food, I'm sure there's a certain amount of that where your body has kind of overcome that. And if they don't have salts and sugars and spices like we do, where they have their own unique to their culture, the point is a lot of places they wouldn't need that much food, is what I'm saying. And we have an overabundance many places. If we had bona fide portioned meals, whether it's a food nutrition thing like the military would do, or some kind of place that treats people that have excessive weight gain and food addictions, if we had some kind of bona fide meal plans to say, what's the smallest meal a person needs, and then make it a little bit larger portion for places that aren't like, we'll say, fat America or at least overeating America, and get the portion control, get it in MRE form, uh, food preservatives, dehydrated, different ways, however you got to do it, since you can't just send them into McDonald's or Burger King. Yeah, maybe not the healthiest food in the world, but they do have salads. And the point is the concept of who moves food. Get involved with the people that move food, know how to move food, and have it a community program across the globe community. Planet Earth community food drive, shelter, water. We have so many useful resources, and some people just don't know what to do with their lives. And this is so on top of everything and combines with everything. This is no new movement. People have been doing this for years. I've heard of people taking food to foreign countries and stuff like that through their religious organizations, and I'm sure there's more going on that we know about. But if we could just globalize it more to help the people that need it the most. I mean, some people would just love to have basic clean water, basic medical care, basic foods, basic shelter on top of what they have now that would help give them a safe living environment, places that they can get clean showers and all the stuff that I believe that we as humans should be entitled to, but because some people are born in certain areas, they may never leave there. They'll be stuck there their whole lives. We don't, even in this country, a lot of people don't go more than a couple miles from their house. And one time I was on a detour and I was trying to find out where the freeway was, and nobody knew. They act like they didn't even know what the freeway was. I'm like, I'm a couple miles off the road, and I'm like, do you know how to get to this route? And nobody knew. Nobody knew where the road was. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I didn't have GPS then. So believe me, this is a few years before smartphones. We had cell phones, but it did not have GPS. So it's not that long ago. And I was literally just a couple miles. I had to turn around, drive around, and it got twisted. And I knew I'd find the road eventually, but I just thought asking somebody would help. But nobody knew. It was like a bunch of blank stares. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, don't you know where this route is? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I mean, I asked several people. It just was kind of weird. So my point is, stuff happens. Some people are stuck in their life classes their whole life. Some people always will be. Some people, it's the point that they may never leave that town they're in, or if they do have to go somewhere, it's, you know, hours away to get to a hospital, or if there's any assistance whatsoever. And there's just so many things you could do to globalize this program somehow. And you need governments involved with, I don't want to say military because it's misconstrued when you say that, but let's just say a delivery system from the government that would help nourish the people with food, water, and a supply chain that would be able to get it there on a global effort. It's like a global humanitarian effort. And across the board, this is one of the videos, like I said, I just start talking. I sometimes I forget to make these videos because I start talking and I just start talking. And this is the kind of videos my daughter wouldn't understand. She would say that they're boring. That's fine. But it's the point that it's here. It can be looked at someday later. That's why I post it on YouTube. And it's just my humanitarian thoughts. I'm sure they would be way different. Similar concept from years ago, but I would definitely talk a little different. But across the board, when you got so many more working years behind you and so many more years of people that need help and not knowing how to do it. Yes, you can donate here and there, and then, you can't just go out and buy your own plane unless you got the money to, and then get this food. And then if you're crossing borders, especially after the pandemic, a lot of this stuff has to have permission. I remember in the 80s, there were several boats that got sent to a country, and I don't remember the exact country because my memory's not that good, but several of them, the stuff was in dry dock, held up by the government. Because one, too many reasons happened, but across the board I heard, they didn't want that food to get to those people. They didn't want those people to be fat and healthy. And there's other things that are going on that I don't know about, but the point is that stuff needs to be arranged beforehand and put in place, and know that if the government needs their tithe from it or whatever, that all this stuff needs to be in place. And it shouldn't be unless that's for obviously custom fees and stuff like that they've done. But some of that should be overlooked if it's for humanitarian issues from bona fide religious groups, organizations, corporations, companies, other governments. A lot of that stuff should be waived, in my opinion, or lessened. And it needs to be arranged in advance to have that part of the food chain, to have that part of clean drinking water, well water, show people how to filter. I mean, some of it's because I saw what they do in some places. They have a polluted river, or potentially polluted. They dig a hole so many feet back, and then they want the water to leach through, and they're hoping that it's been filtered through the dirt. And apparently they've been doing that for years. In a lot of places it works, but sometimes it doesn't. You don't know who else has dug there and used the restroom there, and animals, and you know the point is there's other ways to filter water now. There has been for years, and there's ways for them to treat it. Some places they have one good well for whole areas. If they could do that, at least have one every so many miles, people will come to get that fresh, safe drinking water. It's the point that we have so much technology, and some of it's in so many places that are well organized. It's just getting some out to the other places, but having them appreciate it to where they understand where it come from and why it's there, and it's for humanitarian reasons. It's to make friends, to globalize the humanitarian movement, to make more people care so they understand that there's help there. It's to help others, to help others, to help others, to globally help others, along with all the other rules and things that are in place. But I'm just saying this would be a whole different movement on top of what's already going on in the world. But take it to the next level of design, get a world government involved in a world corporation designed specifically just to help as many people as it can. Start in one area, one region, work your way up. You can have a corporation that buys and sells here, that raise profits here. They can take donations from other corporations for this global movement to help get food to the hungry, to help get clean water and the ability to filter water to those that need it, to get them medical care, to get them doctors. It's almost like a bona fide movement of many organizations exist more than I even know. But it's the point is if you could unify them through apps, multiple apps, because you get one app, you got to have 20. So through apps, a coordinated effort, one corporation that could help oversee it, that could help involve the government from their professional level, the corporations from their professional level, companies, individuals, the religious groups of multiple religions throughout the globe. And that's what I'm saying. One database that would know where is the poor indigenous areas, one. Two, which ones want help. Because if they don't want help, then, and I don't mean the ones that are blocked by their government or their other tribes or people. I mean the ones that really want to be self-sufficient and reliant. You don't need to go in there and, force your views upon them as far as I'm concerned. There's too many other people that want help. Help them first. And then if the entire world's fixed except for one little place of 0.5% or 1%, then we can figure out a way to tactfully say, well, how can we help? How can we help? Can we do this? Can we do this? Do this? I'm just saying, help the 10%, the 20% that really want it first, and go from there. And if you have a database that's a coordinated effort from one place where the people can say, what do we need? What do we need? What do we need? There's so many resources available, especially through smart TVs, through the internet, these apps, through people that have money that want to give it to help people, through arts, humanities, through everything. There's companies that have too much food and it has a best by date. They have to send it somewhere. Instead of sending it to the landfill, let's truck it, ship it, airship it, however it takes, through donation monies, through the supply chain that we can create to get that food, if as long as it's still healthy and good. Might be past the best by date, but you know as well as I do, some of that stuff can be eaten for, I've heard, several years if it has to be. But I'm just saying, if it's like a month behind, let's get it in the hands of the hungry. Let's get it in the hands of those that need it. And honestly, let's do it before it expires. Let's get it there 6 months before, 3 months before. Let's get it to where it needs to go through an organization and then have a tracking system. So the point is, and to help people generate, to get them self-sufficient somehow. If they're in an area that can grow stuff, then let's get them. They have those new pods and stuff like that where you can grow stuff indoors. Let's get a couple of them to places where they don't have the climate to grow their own food, whether it's too cold or too hot. Let's get them some food pods where they can grow their own resources of food. They're climate controlled, they're solar controlled. Get them the portable batteries that they need. There is people and companies that will do this if you find the right people to organize it. You know as well as I do. There's always some kind of nonprofit. There's already somebody out there that knows how to do this. There's money's available. There's people willing to do it. It's just getting them connected. And I don't know who they are. I don't know how to do it. But if we could get some kind of globalization for this, for the right reasons, it can happen. And maybe it's already going on. I don't know about it. But the point is, I don't think it's happening like you think because I don't know about it. Not on a broad spectrum. I'm talking, this could be, I don't forget all their names. I'm sorry. But let's just say, like the United Nations. But let's have the United Planet, Food Chain, the United Planet Health Corps, the United Planet, Clean Water Movement. That's what I'm saying. It's the concept of the United Nations on an even bigger level of I'm saying set it as a corporation because if their goals are so driven, they seem to be more driven than some of the governments. And That's what I'm saying. So let's design a company, a nonprofit corporation, to have a goal to achieve this. Because I don't know how else you can do it. Because it's got to be a global movement. Everybody's got to get involved, and you start big and you get bigger, and then you just go from there. And I'm not even going to mention that millionaires in space and billionaires in space. I like the idea. Space has taken a step back since the space shuttle disasters and stuff like that, and I feel so bad for those people and their family and the technology. But other countries have kept going with their research. Ours has taken 20 years step behind on many things, and they need this push, because if they would have done it then, it was a lot cheaper 20 years ago. Now it's even more money. So give them their days of fame, give them their days of glory. Let's get them involved on a world food movement to help feed the globe, to help water the globe with clean drinking water, to help with basic medical care and dental care, basic hygiene areas. I'm just saying, let's help them with food pods. Let's get them involved to help. Let them go to space and do what they want to do, to make the money, to drive the funds, to help what they're doing, because what they're doing is important too. A globalization communication effort, future space travel, potentially going to the moon and Mars and beyond. Come on, this is like the fantasy dreams of kids here that they're making a reality. The concept itself is awesome. Yes, they got the money to. Yes, they want to. Let them go. But let them have that money that comes back, because many companies donate to charities. Let them help donate towards a globalization effort of food and humanity. So let them explore the place, but then let some of that kickback comes back to help us on this planet, because their research is important too. It may not always seem like it, but it's the point. That's my commentary, my thoughts, my touch and go. But it's the point that it is needed, always has been needed, and always will be needed. And until it's not. So let's get more people involved somehow, some way. If there's some kind of group that's already doing this, hook me up. Send me an email. mustbe_me@yahoo.com. And let's just go from there. Let's save the world one breath at a time, one piece of food at a time, one healthy drop of clean drinking water at a time, one little shelter at a time, one safe shelter, one food pod at a time. Somehow, some way, someday, let's get this place to be more like we need it to be, and not the chaos that it's been created to be from the beginning of time, that it's going through time. So, thank you for a like, share, subscribe. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the good things in life. We give thanks many times over, many, many, many times over, to all the positive life movements that help get us through. Luck.